Let's go. Let's go. All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarah Soon said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to not only the Sarah Soon Seti YouTube page, but the General Seti YouTube page, two dynamic powerhouse institutions on YouTube, giving you nothing but black power, black divinity. I want you to subscribe immediately. I want you to become a member. The link for the membership right down in the video description is in the chat. All you have to do is just click it. You get a video introduction, run down on the memberships, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join. Even if you don't, I appreciate your presence here at the Sarah Soon Seti General Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. The General got a new website up on Teachable, uploading a lot of dynamic curriculums, powerhouse program, certificate courses. First one up, 25 steps to the redemption of definitive black manhood, designed by the General himself, strictly for the kings. You can go over to the website, get a preview of the curriculum. Also included the Brotherhood of Heru Roundtable live stream, where the brothers sit down once a week discussing very important, very powerful information pertinent to their growth and development. I want you to get on over there, family. Check it out. Become a brother, become a member today. That's right. Ring the alarm, KingSeti.com, online marketplace, official General Sarah Soon Seti, DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessories for every room in the house. I got something for your family I know you're going to like and love. Get over there, check out the catalog, shop and save, save and shop. Pour the fire alarm, GeneralSeti.com, Seti University, over 2,500 videos, 40 different subjects, all the subjects that you know and love, from the General Olmec, Voyagers of the Nile, when Kemet ruled the earth, Nubia, mother of ancient Egypt, Black Babylon, from Naga to Nigger, African origins of the Hindu Kush, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, all the isms exposed, Freemasonry, occult, black woman is God, making of the white man, and so much, much more. No other website, nowhere on the planet that could compare, compete, become a member today. Everybody knows that he got the pop on his page on Patreon. By far, over 500 exclusive live streams only to be seen on Patreon. We don't reuse, we don't rehash, we don't do none of that. Fresh out the pack, advanced learning, advanced presentations. Get over there today, family, and get that work. And to all the family donated to the General, I thank you, appreciate you. Those would like to donate, link right there in the chat. Click it, donate. I appreciate you very much, and make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King Seti, General Seti, Sarah Soon Seti. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. And comment, comment, comment. Just don't say nothing stupid, because I will ban your ass. Let me get some water, family. But why I get this water? Because it's hot. Hot around this motherfucker. Yeah, we got to talk about it. Goddamn plantations and big houses and all kind of, slave affiliated, structures is coming to the ground today, and it's hot around this motherfucker. So I got to get a drink of water. But while I'm getting that, family, I'm going to go on and we're going to play this video, this quick video for you.
It's like the ancestors are speaking from.
Special op. Special ops operation. Everybody's off protected. Shirt floors. Making sure everybody's out reverse and all coming out. Okay. Operations to engine 11. Are you off the second floor? Special ops. Special ops operation. Everybody's off protected. Shirt floors.
That's right, family. This one right here in DC. They saying, man, listen here, we're gonna be talking about this today. Man, they talking about, man, they saying the damn doll, man. They talking about Annabelle. Goddamn Annabelle. They say Annabelle, goddamn it, is possessed by one of our peoples, man. That's what they saying. Now, I ain't saying I goddamn believe it, but we gonna talk about it. You know, let me tell y'all something. Magic is psychological. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so even motherfucker, you make a motherfucker want, you put a motherfucker in fear. Yeah, the ancestors is in, then took over. They didn't, whatever was in Annabelle, but when they took old Annabelle down there in Louisiana, some jumped into Annabelle. Whooped the damn, whatever was in Annabelle, they went down there and our peoples and jumped on whatever was in there and took over Annabelle. Goddamn it, wherever it went, goddamn it, it burned it down. That's what they saying. Then that raggedy white woman that was, and her husband, they say don't ever move that dial, goddamn it. You understand what I'm saying? And they moved the goddamn dial, and whatever they done took that goddamn dial, goddamn it, something didn't happen. You see, and so yeah, we're gonna talk about this other Confederate museum. Goddamn tree and fell on that motherfucker. Hey, shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It must be a lucky day. It must be a lucky day for our people. And so, goddamn it, we're gonna talk about it. And you know what? We have to also think about some shit as we talk about this. You see, because burning it down is one thing, but walk with me. Is this history though? We got to think about this. It's one thing that is burning down, but I think we more upset that these descendants of the slave master are in control of these houses and things. But would it be more feasible if we control these houses to show our people history? Because if you burn down the evidence, you see, if you burn down, but you got to have the descendants that are in control. I'm just throwing this out here because it's one thing, but you're burning down the evidence, and it ain't that it happened. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing that and so but it's controlling the area. Is controlling these houses and making sure that our people is telling the real story. That's how you, telling the story, man, to the babies and, in a way that they understand what's going on, giving them the mission, you see? And so, in a way, it's one thing to burn it down, but are we losing history? In the sense that, this is a record, you can't burn it because the history is the history. And so when you being that our people did go through these things, you see, would it be more realistical for us to have control these properties, to be able to bring our babies to these houses as museums, giving them the truth? Giving them the truth. You see, you ain't gonna wash it away. Burn it down and still happen. That don't mean because you memorialize your ancestors. You see, they still without justice. Burning the house down is not justice alone. You see what I'm saying? So there's still work to do. And so are we, I don't want people to think because the house burned that somehow, no, it's more than that. You see, that structure is not, when we balance this shit in the scales and you talk about all the lives that lost, it wasn't the house, it was the evil motherfuckers that did that. You see what I'm saying? Yes, it happened there, but just burning the house down is not enough. So I don't want, some people may think, oh, that's it. No. So, I just threw that out there. I ain't gonna be, I'm not saying I'm not burning that motherfucker down, but are they burning our history? Is somebody out there, is it Annabelle or is this damn beast out here burning shit down to hide truth? Hide truth. You feel me? Out there lying and shit. We look at these goddamn Neanderthal, they out there giving this story. Well, what if our peoples was in control of the narrative? Taking our babies to the museums, letting them know what happened, showing where our ancestors and having the memorials, having our rituals, talking to the ancestors, huh? And memorializing their spirits, letting them know we on the job. And we reaching out to them, you see? So yeah, we had to think about both ways. I understand people want to celebrate. They wasn't doing nothing till the damn house burned down. The nigga wasn't talking about nothing. They were talking about the everyday shit that these niggas are rappers and shit. And then as soon as you're revolutionary. You revolutionary for a video. You see, you're revolutionary for a video. That's not enough. But I'm not mad at you. I'm not. I weigh it in both sides and burn that motherfucker down. Y'all down there and we couldn't get control of it. You down there turn it into a resort, burn that motherfucker down. But it seemed like we should have been able to get our hands on that property. You see, in all these properties, just like these Jews, when they turn that shit into a museum. They say never again. You have to show the babies. Because they so far removed from their history, they don't know. They don't goddamn know. It's just in, a paragraph that somebody tell them about. Or, but when it's tangible and it's real, you could go there. You know what I'm saying? And get the right narrative from our people who really, are one with the ancestors. It looked like it would have been a powerful package. But let's move on, family. I want to listen to this particular video. Gonna do a historical rundown on this plantation in DC and get some historical background. Let's work, family.
2 fires and 1 Confederate museum destroyed. And now here comes fire number 3. And look, I'm not blaming Annabelle this time. This ain't ghosts. This is bigger than Annabelle. This is our ancestors at work. And this time, the flames touched land tied to a woman named Hortense Prout. And trust me, you need to hear her story. Let's go back to 1861, right as the Civil War was kicking off. And I know what some of y'all are thinking. Wait, this happened in D.C. It's not the South. And you're right, D.C. wasn't the South, but that doesn't mean it didn't have slavery. D.C. was in the weird middle ground, not quite north, not quite south, but still very much a slave city. They had slave pens just blocks from the capital, and over 3,000 enslaved people living in the city in 1860. Yes, the North had slavery too. The big difference is the North had smaller farms, cities, and fewer enslaved people. But make no mistake,
y'all can't hear the song.
The South had more land, harsher conditions, and relied way heavier on enslaved labor for agriculture. But DC, it had its own system of oppression, and Hortense was stuck right in it. Hortense Prout was just 20 years old, enslaved on a 56-acre estate in what's now Adams Morgan. The land was owned by a man named John Little, who ran a butchery, a tannery, and a cattle farm. He had 13 enslaved.
Okay, it's low. I tell you what, I'll try to get it. I'll move to the next one because sometimes when you down low, you know ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's work, family.
Information earlier, could not find nothing, but now it's here in abundance. So you remember like that 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi? Well, now there's 3. And I'm not just counting. This is not a game, right? This time it's like, how many times are we going to hear about this before you pause and ask, what's really going on here? May 21st, 2025. That means this year, baby. Not that far, right? 2 or 3 days ago. A historical 3-story mansion in Washington, D.C. in the elite Calamora neighborhood went up in flames. Not once, but twice, boo. In 24 hours, the same home owned by U.S. Navy Secretary John Phelan
Somebody said the last video, the volume was fine. Y'all gonna turn your you know, you had to turn your computer up or your phone up. I know, you know what I'm saying, because I believe the last one had a lot of information in it. So if I go back and I try, it was good. Okay, then, well, what I'll do after this one, I'll go back to that one because that last one had a lot of information in it. And so I'm going to go back to it right after this.
Right? It was under renovation, and while the first fire was blamed on electrical issues, the second fire, that still remains to be unexplained. They can't figure it out. And get this, the DC Fire Department said this is not a house that should have went up like that. And certainly not the second time. Even the neighbors said they never seen a fire burn like that. Not in that neighborhood. Now, before we say any more, I want us to pause and, firefighters can't even talk. Firefighters are important. And one of the firefighters who was trying to extinguish the fire, he actually fell down the elevator shaft during the rescue effort of extinguishing everything. But thankfully, he was not seriously hurt. And it could have been a lot more serious. We could have had more tragedies on top of this mystery. So I'm glad that he's okay, just to let y'all know some contents to everything else. But here's where it gets real. This house isn't just some modern day luxury crib. It was built before emancipation. In a neighborhood with deep roots, the kind of place that whispers histories, whether you're re-listening or not.
So yeah, that house was built before the Emancipation Proclamation. So we were still, our peoples were still slaves at that time. You understand what I'm saying? They were still enslaved at that time. I ain't gonna say they were still enslaved at that time when that house was built.
So during slavery times, DC had a thriving market in enslaved Black people. So don't let those marble buildings and polished politics fool you. This is real. Enslaved people built the foundations of these so-called historical homes. Servant quarters, cellar kitchens, hidden stairways, all designed so that the enslaved would be out of sight, but always working. If y'all seen the series Outlander, they have houses like that. But it wasn't for the enslaved people. It was enslaved people, but it wasn't Black enslaved people. They called them cogs. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, many of these homes, like this one, has never fully told the truth about who built them, who suffered inside, and what kind of energy still lingers in those walls. Now, you've got a house that mysteriously catches fire twice, and the firefighters and the locals alike are saying, this doesn't add up. So here's my question for you. Do you think it's just old wiring? It could be. So I'll tell you real quick, and this is my personal story about how it could be old wiring. I was raised as a single daughter, the only child, but I really wasn't the only child. My sister passed away in a house fire from faulty wiring. Now, the fire didn't get to her, the smoke did, so she passed away from smoke inhalation. So I grew up as an only child, but there was originally two of us. There you go. So sometimes things linger in the walls too that could be nibbling away at those wires and start something. Or do you believe history has a way of demanding to be seen, just like any other things?
You know what? But at the same time, we seeing it's a rash, these places going up, and it's frequency. Nah, I do believe in frequency. I do believe in that. I'm not going to say that I just believe, but I do believe in frequency. And I do. And they say, goddamn it, when you throw that goddamn pebble out there in the water, you know what I'm saying? You will see the ripple. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you do is go, and a lot of time that shit come back too. It hit that, and then that shit'll come back this way. So you ain't no telling when it come back, when that energy and frequency come back. It can come back in waves like that. So, it is a very mysterious thing that's going on right around this time. And I told people last year because 2024 was a wild year. But this year is more mysterious than ever before. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit look like it's coming full circle this year. It's a lot of shit, that is more it's more of like a spiritual hidden, is spiritual, but it's like is hidden, but it's coming out. You know, it is revealing itself. You know, things that most black people would not be talking about. Big houses, plantations. We wouldn't be talking about this, but somehow we are conversating about these big houses, what's been going on, and during the time of slavery. And so I believe it is a time of revealing. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a time of revealing. Let's finish this.
Even if it takes fire to speak, just like in the other fire, I just think it's oddly weird that you got a trained fire department that distinguished the fire and left the scene because the fire was out. Then a couple of hours later, or whatever time later, you got another fire in the same building you just put the fire out. Make that make sense. What y'all think? Oh, here's the footage.
Large home here in Colorama. It reignites hours later, and we're now learning the Navy secretary owns the home that's under renovation. His family was not there at the time.
Oh, yeah, and this brick house backs up to former President Obama's house on Belmont Road. DC News Now's Dave Laval has the latest on the investigation.
This mansion, owned by the Navy secretary, is said to be roughly 100 years old, but the two fires all but destroyed it.
Flames pour out of the Navy secretary's home Tuesday morning for the second time in nearly 12 hours.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's so sad.
Yvonne DeCour is a neighbor.
Such a lovely neighborhood, but I walk by here every day, and it's a beautiful house.
Secretary John Phelan and his family do not live in the house, which underwent renovations at the time of the fires.
This is a hard house to have a fire in and to put out and to work in all the void spaces.
Firefighters returned roughly 6 hours.
So the motherfucker, they tried to put the motherfucker out, and it went up. They put it out, then the motherfucker started back up. Yeah. They start back up. Well, it is what it is. It ain't, if they being disrespectful and they gonna live in it, then burn it down. You see what I'm saying? Burn it down. You're gonna live on top of the graves of our ancestors, and if we can't get our hands on it, and we can't memorialize our ancestors the way that we need to memorialize them, burn that shit down. Let me get to this other video, family, and I want y'all to try to work through it, because it's a lot more history in this one. You feel me? See if you could turn it up a little bit.
A lot's been going on lately. It's like the ancestors are speaking from the grave. We've had 2 fires and 1 Confederate museum destroyed. And now, here comes fire number 3. And look, I'm not blaming Annabelle this time. This ain't ghosts. This is bigger than Annabelle. This is our ancestors at work. And this time, the flames touched land tied to a woman named Hortense Prout. And trust me, you need to hear her story. Let's go back to 1861. Right as the Civil War was kicking off. And I know what some of y'all are thinking. Wait, this happened in D.C. This not the South. And you're right, D.C. wasn't the South, but that doesn't mean it didn't have slavery. D.C. was in the weird middle ground. Not quite north, not quite south, but still very much a slave city. They had slave pens just blocks from the capital, and over 3,000 enslaved people living in the city in 1860.
See, we don't understand. We look at a lot. See, the thing is, we look at a lot of shit, and we don't know our hands built it. You see what I'm saying? When you look at a lot of them structures in D.C., and we look in, a lot of times we be in amazement. Oh, wow, that's a beautiful building. Even though it got the white man name on it. Jefferson and Washington and Lincoln, and and they didn't named it all, after all these slave masters. It was our forefathers and foremothers' hands who actually built them structures. That's just like that house down there. What is it, Notting Way down there? Yeah, our ancestors built that house. You see what I'm saying? So we don't even see the ingenuity. And you know what I'm saying? You ain't just gonna take no motherfucking and just build no house. especially where, it take architecture, it take trained masons, and you know what I'm saying? You have to know mathematics and all of that, man. You just can't just throw no shit. I know masonry, and I know some sloppy motherfuckers, and if you just throw, and I know motherfuckers that do sloppy work, do excellent work. You know what I'm saying? I know how they do when they throw them, slap them bricks on there, and and that's just the masons and shit, but to be able to put them magnificent buildings together. You see what I'm saying? It takes excellent skills and know how to do that. You feel me? But we don't look and see and understand from a historical point that our foremothers and forefathers put these structures here. They built them with their own hands, showing that they wasn't just out in the fields. You see? They was not just out in the fields. They was also mathematicians. Benjamin Banneker, you see what I'm saying, who designed DC after ancient Egypt. You see what I'm saying? After ancient Egypt. Let's finish this, family.
Yes, the North had slavery too. The big difference is the North had smaller farms, cities, and fewer enslaved people. But make no mistake, it was still slavery. The South had more land, harsher conditions, and relied way heavier on enslaved labor for agriculture. But DC, it had its own system of oppression, and Hortense was stuck right in it. Hortense Prout was just 20 years old, enslaved on a 56-acre estate in what's now Adams Morgan. The land was owned by a man named John Little, who ran a butchery, a tannery, and a cattle farm. He had
John Little, that's the motherfucker right there. I believe that area, I don't know if he was actually the one that was responsible for, contracting the house. I believe he was John Little.
Acre estate in what's now Adams Morgan. The land was owned by a man named John Little, who ran a butchery, a tannery, and a cattle farm. He had 13 enslaved people, including Hortense, her mother Delilah, and her siblings. Now, here's where it gets bold. Hortense decided to escape. She put on men's clothes, which was a major risk in itself, and made her way toward the Union troops nearby. Because even though DC still had slavery, she knew the Union was the side fighting against it. Now pause for a second. How did she know that? There was no Facebook, no CNN, no Freedom Hotline. That means people were talking, word was spreading, enslaved folks were sharing information, probably whispering in kitchens and over fences. If you can make it to the Union, you might be safe. Hortense made a run for it, but she was caught. They threw her in jail for 10 days and then sent her right back to John Little's land. Now, here's the part that hits different. Less than a year later, in April 1862, President Lincoln signed the Compensated Emancipation Act, which freed all enslaved people in D.C. So yes, Hortense was legally freed. And that's the key difference between the North and the South. In D.C., when the act passed, freedom came immediately. But in the South, that's where Juneteenth comes in, because down in Texas, enslaved folks didn't find out they were free until June 19, 1865, 2.5 years later. Some folks say it was by accident, but let's be real, they didn't tell them on purpose, because free labor, they wasn't ready to get that up. So what happened to Hortense after emancipation? We don't have full records of her life, but we do know that her mother, Delilah Prout, stayed in a cottage on that same land. She even shows up in the 1870 U.S. Census, still living in that area, but free. The estate was eventually abandoned and turned into what we now call Kalorama Park. And the beautiful thing, that park is now part of the National Underground Railroad network to freedom.
Okay, Kalorama Park. Okay, so that whole area over there. You see, they had a plantation. They had slaves, or at the minimum, they had slaves in the house. You see, they had slaves in the house.
A program by the National Park Service that recognizes real places tied to Black resistance.
I know it's low, family. It's in the video.
She did get a marker in the park, a permanent reminder that she fought back. So yeah, a fire happened, but that fire didn't just destroy a building. It lit up a story we should have been talking about all along. Hortense Prout didn't go viral. She didn't have followers or fame, but she ran, She resisted. She made a move when it could have cost her everything. And if you listen closely, real close, through the ashes, through the smoke, through the silence of history they tried to erase, you can still hear the ancestors whispering, "We're not finished." And that's why we got to keep telling our own stories, because if we don't, they'll get buried, renamed, whitewashed, and erased, just like this building. So if you're with me, help keep this story alive. Comment, like, and share. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that they won't put in your textbook. Peace.
Yeah, family. I'm gonna try to hook it up to my mixer next time where I could turn it up. But you know how that go when you be downloading these videos, the original person, it's on them. You got different volume levels and this, that, and the third. But we gonna go out on this one. We got more fire, but we got fam going. Listen, this shit is funny as hell.
They made it to DC. Another plantation burning down, y'all. Let it burn!
Let that motherfucker burn. Yeah, nigga, you know our people, we go cloud, yeah, you gonna have these crackers, they gonna be red as a tomato and shit watching these goddamn videos. But anyway, family, do the research. Just don't get out there watching all these crazy. It's all right. It's all right to have a laugh. It's all right to do the video, do the work, do the research, family. I'm gonna go behind this situation here and everywhere that it was a fire and some burn. I'm gonna go back in there and I'm gonna do the research. You feel me? I want to know the deeper understanding of what's going on in these particular areas. You feel me? But I'll be right back. I appreciate y'all being here today, family. We got some fire on the menu. Just go to the page, and we got 5 or 6 or 7 hot ones going down today, and we starting off right now. Don't you go nowhere. Hit that subscribe button. If you have not subscribed, get a video a thumbs up. Get over there to the Patreon. The link is right there in the chat, pinned to the top. I'll be right back. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.